Good morning, everyone. We are coming to you live via Facebook streaming, via YouTube streaming, and also via Skype. Going within the way of life, going within the way of life. I have chosen just simple messages, wove them into a garland to offer to you. As the message, go within. You have to begin the journey. As you reach the inner space, there will be explosion of light and beauty. Know this as awakening. And when that happens, you attain to truth. Your words and messages will flow beyond contradictions. Your messages will flow beyond contradictions. The crowd will consider you insane. But this insanity is the ultimate wisdom. This insanity that then happens is the ultimate wisdom. Be not worried of the crowd's behavior. Instead, consider it good luck. For this, you have to change the way of your life. Create immense beauty around you, both inner and outer. And when the beauty manifests, everyone will feel that being with you is an unusual happening, is benediction. They will begin to feel being with you is blessing. But you have to understand two things. One is a standard of living that we know. The other is a standard of life. What is the difference between the two? To you, there seems to be no difference between the standard of living and the standard of life. Both appears to be the same, but there is a vast difference between the two. We go on focusing on improving the standard of living on a day-to-day basis. You have a house, buy a bigger house, change the vehicle, change the furniture, so on and so forth. There is nothing wrong in it. However, in doing so, you compromise with the standard of life. A standard of life is an inner happening. The inner values determine the standard of life. The outer things, contents determine the standard of living. A standard of life is determined by your inner values. And a standard of living is determined by the possessions that you have. You may have an ordinary watch. What is the purpose of the watch? The purpose of the watch is to be aware of the time. A standard of living says you change your watch from an ordinary watch to Rolex. Change your vehicle from an ordinary vehicle to an exclusive custom design vehicle. Both serve the same purpose. One determines the standard of living, the other determines the standard of life. You may change ordinary watch from an ordinary to an exclusive watch. Both serve the same purpose. Time remains the same. Whether you are using a Rolex watch, an ordinary Timex watch, Rolex changes the standard of living, but your standard of life, the inner value, does not change. Be aware of the difference between the two. When your focus is on the inner values, you will begin to live in your essential nature. To live in your essential nature is an altogether blessing, and to die in that, to die living your essential nature, is benediction. This you have to understand. And the understanding of this comes from Bhagavad Gita. One thing, people read Bhagavad Gita, they talk on that, but they do not understand. Nowhere in Bhagavad Gita Krishna spoke. If you have understood the Gita or read it, it is written, the first and the only verse, it says Dhritarashtra Uvach. Dhritarashtra, the blind king, Uvach means he spoke. Dhritarashtra Uvach. Then comes few verses, Sanjay Uvach. Sanjay the charioteer, the commentator, spoke. Then comes Arjun Uvach. And then comes Bhagwan Uvach. Nowhere it says Krishna Uvach. What is the difference? Was Krishna and Bhagwan two different entities then? Krishna is the instrument, the flute. Krishna is the flute through which the message of the ultimate is flowing at that time. Krishna is the flute, but the message is that of ultimate Bhagwan. Bhagwan Uvacha. Dhritarashtra Uvacha. Sanjay Uvacha. Arjun Uvach. Krishna is the instrument, that is the physical being. Mirza Ghalib says, आते हैं ये मज़ामी गैब से ख्याल में गैब से. Whatsoever message is flowing through me is coming from the gap, from the unknown source. Sharire khama nabai sharur se. And the sound that you hear is that of that angel. When the pen is put on the paper, there is a sound. And that sound is that of an angel that flows through me, that speaks through me. Bhagwan is that angel, is that unknown source that speaks through Krishna. Krishna is the instrument. And when it says instrument, you are flowing with whatsoever happens. The first verse, Dhritarashtra, the blind king, asks, Dharma Kshetre Kurukshetre Samveta Yuyusava Mamakaha Pandavaschaiva Kim Akuruvat Sanjaya. The English translation is, in the battlefield of Dharma Kshetra, Kurukshetra, what did, the emphasis is on the word did, what did my sons and that of Pandu gathered on the battlefield, desirous to fight, did? The verb is did. It is not narrated in the present tense. It is not what Krishna spoke to Arjuna. Bhagavad Gita presently contains 700 verses. If properly chanted, one verse takes 2 minutes to chant, 1400 minutes. Convert this into hours. The gongs have been blown, the war has begun with the sunrise. Krishna gives the message. It is erroneous to think that that the message was verbally spoken to Arjuna. It overflowed through Krishna to Arjuna. No. It is a silent communion. It is the tawajjo of Krishna through Krishna that Arjuna understood the unheard message. And it is narrated in the past tense, much after, properly arranged by Vedavyas, the composer. So some understand that Bhagavad Gita is a message to go into the war. They are erroneous. Some thinks that Bhagavad Gita is a message to remain into the world in your own understanding. This is one-sided and also erroneous. Some thought that Bhagavad Gita's message is against renunciation. Some thought that Bhagavad Gita protects you from sacrifice. This too is wrong. The only message of the awakened one is flow with the will of the total. Flow with it, be not against it, and whatsoever is the will of the divine, then that is fine. If you have surrendered, fana has happened, where does your will remain? Your will has merged into that of the totality. Whatsoever totality wants, you are flowing with that. Incident comes in the life of Mahabir. He asked his mother that he wants to take renunciation. The mother said no. He did not say anything. He said, okay. What does it mean? He is flowing with the will of the divine at this moment. It is not the will of the ultimate. Why to insist on getting surrender, getting renunciation? Maybe this is not the right time for me to enter into renunciation. You will go on insisting, let me do it, let me do it. I want to attain to sannyas. Or you are insisting on the master, give me, or sending the message through this one and that one, give me initiation, give me bath. Mahavir did not utter a single word. He is not in conflict. He is flowing. The mother said no, became quiet. Then it happened his mother passed away. They returned from the funeral ground. He spoke to his brother, now that mother is no more, she was objecting. Can I take the renunciation now? The brother said, is this the time? We are already in grief because of the parting of the mother, and you want to give me another shock by saying that you want to enter into renunciation? Mahavir said, okay. He did not utter anything. But something has changed within. He was living the life as if he was not present, doing things as if he is not into. His mind, his innerness is somewhere else. He is doing the ordinary day-to-day work, but he is not into it, as if that something else is doing the things through him. The brother said, what is the kind of life is this? He does not engage in an ordinary conversation. He does not live life like an ordinary person, always sitting in his own thoughts, in his own state of meditativeness. It is better that he is allowed to give renunciation. What kind of person he seems to be? He is not insisting. Mahabir knows how to flow with the existence, with the will of the divine. Mahabir. Then his brother said, you enter now. He is showing us the way. What does it mean when the individual will is merged into that of totality? That is what is meant. You are flowing with existence. Bhagavad Gita only says one thing: flow with the will of the divine. Do not flow against it. And what is the will of the divine for you may differ than that the will of the divine for me. If you are living in the world and I am living the life of a renunciate, there is nothing wrong. That is the will for you of the divine. That is how the divine wants you to live and wants to give the message through you. And this is the message it wants to give it through me. It is that unheard sound that is flowing through a flute and gives a different sound than it is flowing through the stringed instrument. It gives a different sound. Sometimes the existence wants you to be renunciate, as happened in case of Mahabir. And the wish, the will for Arjun was of a different nature. But both have to flow with that. You are flowing with the river of life. Then where this river of life is flowing doesn't matter. You know, the river Ganges starts from the mountain in north and flows towards the east. There is another river, Narmada. It flows towards the west. Now one who is flowing through Ganges is going towards the east, flowing towards the east. And the one who is flowing in river Narmada is going towards the west. You may say both have the different directions. No. What is important, both are flowing according to the will of the river. Flowing with the flow of the river. The river is a flow. Flowing with the divine will is the way. You have to know what the will of the divine is for you and for the other. And you are not to be bothered about the will of the divine for me. That is for me, going within, and when you reach the inner space, there is an explosion of beauty. Understanding comes. Out of that, it's determined. You come to know what is the will of the divine for you. And you are living in that, you are flowing with that. Certain rivers flow towards the east because some direction they have to reach depending from their origin. Each one has to merge with the ocean. The one that finds its way towards the east will have to merge in the ocean in the east. And one who finds its way towards the west will have to flow. towards the west. That is the way. One who understands the Bhagavad Gita really will understand that the only message of Bhagavad Gita is to flow with the will of the divine. That is the only way, and to flow with that is your essential nature. Swadharme nidhanam shreya. Living in your essential nature and dying in that is benediction. The only message contained in Bhagavad Gita is to flow with the will of the divine, not against that. Krishna again and again says, Swadharme nidhanam shreya. Living in your essential nature is the way, and even if you die in your essential nature is benediction. To live, to flow with the essential nature, to live life of surrender is the message. And then you will not be bothered about the questions whose answers you cannot find. It happened. A philosopher came to Buddha. He came with retinue of his 500 disciples. Each came chanting the slogan of the glory to the Master. When he reached Buddha, Buddha was sitting in an unusual composure under the Bodhi tree. And he said that I have come for a dialogue. I have to ask you certain questions and you have to answer. This is the way of the learned ones, to engage you in a conversation and you have to answer the questions, and if you cannot, you are defeated. Buddha said, what can I do for you? The philosopher said, I have come for a dialogue. You have to answer the questions I will ask you. Buddha said, I will answer any question that you ask, but do not ask me 4 questions. What are these 4 questions? The first is, what is Brahma? Brahman. Everyone wants to know what is Brahman, and has anyone found the answer to it? Are you satiated with the answer that was given to you, or you found what is Brahman? The second question, what is Atman? What is soul? Have you found the answer to it? Has anyone found the answer to it? Why is there creation? Everyone wants to know why is there creation. And the last question is Atma Brahma? Is individual soul God? Philosopher said these are the 4 important questions, and they form the basis of argument, conversations, dialogue. And if you ask me, you are telling me that you will not answer these questions, then what is there remained? Buddha said you can ask how to come out of sorrow. Sorrow is generated by ego. I will answer it because I know how to come out of this, the sorrow generated by anger, by ego. I have known this. I can give you the medicine, the way to come out, to overcome the sorrow of the physical and the mental afflictions that comes out of ego. What will you gain by arguments? You want to win the arguments? Why? Why have you come to argue, to engage in argument with me? Simply because of the greed in you. You want to win. You have the pain of loss. You have a fear if I get lost, if I lose. Buddha hit the delicate point in him. The philosopher replied, I know much. I know everything about the scriptures. But there is anger in me. There is jealousy in me in abundance. There is greed too. And there is fear of the loss in dialogues too. Guide me to attain the state of desirelessness. Find me the way. We are in the holy month of Ramadan, when Quran Pak, Quran Majid descended for the benefit of humanity through Holy Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. You have to look within. If there is anger of any kind in you, if there is fear of loss in you, if there is jealousy in you, if there is hatred of any kind in you, if there is desire to gain for anything in your life, or greed of any kind, if any of these things are there in you, what does it mean? That your spiritual life or the inner life has not yet begun. You have wasted your life. If any of these things, anger, fear of loss, jealousy, hatred, desire to gain, greed of any kind is there in you, that means you have not, your inward journey has not begun. By remembering the scriptures, quoting them, knowing them by heart, does not explain to me in any way that you are on this spiritual journey. First, you have to accept that you have not gained anything as yet. With all these scriptures, you have not gained anything. What is the inner gain? Inner peace and harmony is the only gain, and that manifests through you. Live life simple as a witness. Look within your mind for those causing inner disturbances. That is where the spiritual journey begins. Look within your mind for all those that are causing inner disturbance. Be a witness to all those impressions. Impressions that are there in your mind, and they guide you on a day-to-day basis, on a moment-to-moment, living your life. And they constantly rob you of your inner harmony. Without knowing the sickness, you cannot find the treatment. Cause of your inner sickness, cause of your inner sickness is one thing, and the symptoms that manifest is different. The cause and symptoms differ from one another. You look at the symptoms. Looking at the symptoms, you want me to give you the treatment. Awakened one looks at the cause. He has treatment for the cause, not for the symptoms. Symptoms are the outcome of something different. Look within if there is compassion in you. If you have compassion within you, let that be the guiding principle. Let that be. Someone has come to your place. It is lunchtime. What would you do? Out of compassion, you will offer him whatsoever you have. Whatsoever you have. If you have your platter of the food in front of you and you are going to dine, someone comes in. What would you do? What does your compassion say? Share that with the person. It is just enough for your own meals. Sharing that with the person is compassion. You have 2 or 3 different people living in the house. Preparing the food according to the taste of everyone is an outcome, is an overflow of compassion. But what we do? Why do I have to cook food differently for everyone in the house? You have 2 sons and a daughter. Each one of them have their own likes and dislikes of the food. But if you are being paid for that, you have no objection in preparing different dishes for different people, isn't it so? The chefs in restaurant will prepare different kind of meals for the same people. 4 people go to dine in the restaurant. One wants a chicken biryani, the other wants a vegetarian biryani, and the third one wants plain rice. Each one of them is paying for it. The chef has no objection. The waiter has no objection. The owner of the restaurant has no problem with it. But if it is that you are not gaining anything for it, if your son wants the rice to be cooked this way, the other one wants to cook this way, you have a problem. Why can't everyone eat food cooked one way? Why? Because you are not gaining anything out of that monetarily. In restaurant, have you observed there is no problem? One eats this and the next one eats something else. One eats this kind of sweet, the next one eats this kind of sweet, there is no problem with it. But at home, where you are not gaining anything, you have a problem. If you are living, if compassion is the guiding principle, then you have no problem with it. Look within if you have compassion within. Buddha gave 5-fold ways to his monks. When he initiated, he did not give them the traditional name of Swami, as was the tradition of that time. He called them as the beggars, bhikshu, one who lives on alms. Beggar is not the correct word. Bhikshu means one who lives on alms. He gave them 2 pieces of the yellow cloth, one to cover the lower extremities, the other to drape on top, shaved their head, gave them the begging bowl, and instructed that you stand up, go in the morning in search of the alms, stand up in front of the house, and unlike the tradition, you remain standing quietly, and once you are noticed and the householder wants to give you something, in return you give them a message or sermon or something. Be grateful that the meals have been given, and if no meals comes in, do not go to the next door. Consider it divine will that today you have to go through the fast and eat only once. So you will not be a burden on the society. If you are going for 3 times of the meals, you may become a burden for the society. You have to look within. Are you attracted towards the wealth, women, respect, etc. of the other, and you want to acquire that? You have seen your friend has gotten this particular vehicle. Is there desire to attain to that car? Or He has bought a beautiful laptop and you want to see that laptop. Do Vipassana Dhyan every day, the breath watching, no stealing, celibacy. Consider woman as the source of pleasure. Do not consider woman as the source of pleasure. Do not consider your body and mind as the source of pleasure. Remember, your body and the mind are the tools of austerity, tools for sadhana, not the instrument for pleasure. Follow the middle path. Consume only that much which is necessary. Consume only that much which is necessary. This applies to everything, food. Speak only that much which is necessary. Be balanced in words and action. These are the sutras that he gave to everyone. Remember, what kind of food you should eat? Anything that is suitable for you. Not based on faith that Muslims are supposed to eat this kind of food during Iftari or Sehri. No. The food is supposed to be simple. What does food means? An information. Food is an information, and if that information is complex, your software, inner software, which is the digestive system, will not be able to digest it. If the soft information, that is, software means information, the food that you are eating is information. So much of protein, so much of fat, so much of this. And if your software that is installed in your system is not capable of assimilating that into your system, it's a problem. Everything comes out of the earth. Your body is formed of the earth. The food that comes out, the animals, everything comes out of the earth. It is cruelty. But then there is something. Now, what does simple food means? If you are eating the vegetable, simple food means the ingredients that do not have the emotions and feelings just like you. The vegetable does not have the emotions and feelings like you. That is simple. If you are dealing with a person who is inflicted by his emotions and feelings and they have a distortion, then it will be very difficult to talk to that person at that moment. Because he is living in his own emotions and feelings which are distorted, and to have a dialogue with that person is very difficult. There are meat products. I have seen cows. If there is any calamity or someone who is taking care of the cow is sick, there are literally tears in the eyes of the cow. If someone dies in the house, the emotions are felt by the cows. Goats feel that emotions. If a goat is living inside the house with the householders, it develops a certain kind of affinity, certain kind of emotions. And when that is slaughtered, the emotions, the feelings are disturbed. That is a complex information is going into you. Is your system capable of handling? Consciously you are not able to handle this situation, handle the person whose emotions are distorted, who has emotional disturbance with his wife, with his father, with his son, and with anyone. You find yourself incapable of handling him. How can you assimilate this information into you? Then that food is not suitable for you. Live your life simple, consume things that are simple and easily digestible. The food is information, as I said. When it goes through your software, simple information is just easily processed by the software that is you are. Your digestive system easily digests the food and it assimilates into your body, becomes your. How do you understand this? Let's say there is a banana. Information. Banana is an information. You eat banana, you are a man. The banana becomes man in you. It gives you the energy, it assimilates into your blood, it is digested, it becomes man in you. The same banana, when it is consumed by a woman, it becomes woman in the woman. Because of the software of the woman, converts the information contained in banana into a feminine quality. When it is consumed by a cow, it becomes cow in it. Isn't it so? The banana is neutral, it is simply an information. Like the information comes into your software and it converts into according to your needs, and the same information, when it comes through the software, through the program, the software of someone else, and it gives a different information. The same mango that you eat, it becomes man in you, and the same mango becomes a woman in you, and a cow in a cow, and a goat in a goat, it becomes goat. You understand this? How to live life according to your own innerness? For instance, suppose you are standing with a cup of tea and someone pushes you. The tea spills and it falls down. You will get angry at the person. You cannot see that you have pushed me and the tea had fallen. Is it wise to blame the person for that? But this is how we live our lives. You are standing and by mistake someone pushes you and the tea spills from the cup. You blame the person that you have pushed me and the tea had fallen. It is erroneous. The tea has fallen because the tea was contained in the container. Whatsoever is there in the tea, that will fall. And if there is tea in the container, the tea will fall. If there is milk in the container, the milk will fall. If an earthquake comes in and the three people are standing with cups in their hand, one has water in his hand, the other has tea, and the third one has milk in it, what will spill? Whatsoever is there in the container, that will spill. Have you thought of this? No. And you are spiritual. Whenever there is a particular circumstance or situation comes, there is a jolt. That time your reality manifests. You may be dressed in a very elegantly, in a very most expensive dress, driving an exotic vehicle, having the designer sunglasses on you. Someone hits your car by mistake. Your inner beauty, inner ugliness manifests through that exotic exterior. That time you have to watch. Do you have patience in you? Is there silence in you? Is there a gratitude in you? Is there self-respect in you? Is there confidence in you? Is there a kind of an elegance in you? Is there humanity in you? That the person has done it by mistake. Purposely he did not push you or hit your car. Or you have anger in you. Whatsoever we have, whether the particular circumstance and situation calls for it or not, it manifests. Is there jealousy? Is there madness? Is there hatred in you? That is the time you come to know what's there in you. What's there in you when you have to decide whether to exhibit your patience, silence, gratitude, self-respect, confidence, humanity, and inner grace, or be guided by anger, bitterness, madness, jealousy, hatred, etc. It's all in your hand. And if you choose correctly, the existence flows through you. You are the musician of life because you have captured harmony within. One who has captured the harmony within, peace within, has captured the unheard sound, has captured the unheard sound which is the pulse of the cosmos, and its essence flows through your words and messages then. Its essence will flow through your words and messages. Your music, your words will take the listener to that existential sound, to that existential peace, the harmony, the oneness. You need not be a musician. Just as words overflow, inner music and harmony flows through you, and it creates the meditativeness, the pulse of cosmos flows through you. The pulse of the cosmos flows through you. This is the essence of going within, living in harmony, understanding the innerness, understanding what you are composed of: gratitude, silence, humanity, humanness, graciousness, or anger, bitterness, madness, jealousy, hatred, etc. Choose. It is in your hand. Life will begin to flow in a different manner. Only this much for this morning. Until tomorrow, take care and do have a pleasant day.